Today we're going to look at the distance formula, or what we're actually going to concentrate on is the length of a line segment. There's a couple of different ways that you can find this. One way is you can create a right triangle and do it with the Pythagorean theorem. Or I'm going to show you what the distance formula is. And you can solve it that way as well. My preference is Pythagorean theorem because you use this more and more, and it's just one that you usually remember very well. Distance formula, here's what it looks like. And you just don't use it as often, so you forget the formula. So I would almost just try to concentrate on one, and I don't find one to be easier than the other. So let's look at how to do both of these with the two different ways. So with Pythagorean theorem, what you're going to do is create a right triangle. Remember, this is what we're looking for, so we're always looking for C. We're always looking for the hypotenuse, the length of that line segment. Well, drawing a right triangle in a coordinate plane, then you always have the lengths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the length here is 5 units. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this one's 7 units. So we have 7 squared plus 5 squared will give us the length of our line segment. 7 squared is 49 plus 25. 49 plus 25 is going to give us 74. And remember, inverse operation of a square is take the square root of both sides. So I've asked in my directions to round to the nearest hundredth. This would actually be the exact answer. So this could have be an option if you have like multiple choice, or if a teacher asks for exact answer. Or you can type this in the calculator and get a decimal. So it would be approximately 8.60 for your C. All right, now let's look at doing that with a distance formula. So with the distance formula, we have to have our two ordered pair. So our ordered pair here is 1, 3. And our point here is -4, -4. All right, when I do distance formula, I like to write it on top of each other. Oops, that's a negative. Let me... Okay, because then I know these are my two x terms, these are my two y terms. These are my x's, these are my y's. So that way I know exactly how to put them in the formula. So I do x minus x, so I have my square root symbol. X, oops, I'm making these look like negatives. X minus x, well, x minus -4. Remember, two negatives, that's going to change it to a positive. And then I'm going to square that. Then I'm going to add that with my y terms. So I'm going to say -4, oops, I'm going to say 3 minus -4. Minus, but it's a -4, so I'm going to change it to a plus. Oops, 4 squared. And the whole reason for this squared is if you happen to get a negative number here, when you square a negative number, you get a positive. And so if we're doing the distance of something, it can never be a negative number. So if for some reason you happen to get a negative number, go back and you've got to square it. Just distance is not negative. All right, let's look at this now. I have 1 plus 4. So we have 5 squared plus 3 plus 4, which is 7 squared. 5 squared is 25. 7 squared is 49. And look, I mean, we're right back to where we are here. It's just that we've already had the square root. So 25 plus 49 is 74. And we've already talked, that's the exact answer. So that could be one of your answer choices. Or if you type that in the calculator, you're going to get 8.60. And remember, these are units. All right, so that's the Pythagorean theorem versus distance formula. Again, I find it easier just to go with Pythagorean theorem because it's one less formula you have to remember. All right, so Pythagorean theorem. Let's make our triangle. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's going to give us our c squared. So 3 squared is 9, plus again 3 squared is 9 equals c squared. If you happen to see that these legs are the same side and you remember your 45-45-90 ratio, then you might be able to figure out your ratio or your distance right now. Those are just some little side things if you start remembering. All right, 9 plus 9 is 18 equals c squared. Okay, inverse operation, square root, okay, equals c. We can simplify this. This is 9 and 2. So the exact answer for this one, so square root of 9 is 3, square root of 2. That's the exact, or type either one of these in your calculator, and you are going to get 4.24 units. Is approximately, remember this is not an exact, is approximately C. Okay, let's look at distance formula. Okay, again, we got to come back over here and find our ordered pairs. So we have -3, -2. And for this one, we have 0, 1. Again, I like to put them on top of each other so I see my x's next to each other and see my y's next to each other. Okay, here's my x's. This is 0. Remember, I'm going to do a plus since it's minus a negative. 3 squared. And then my y's. 1, it's a negative, so I'm going to add squared. 0 plus 3. 1 plus 2. Okay, and again, we're right back to here. So I get 9 plus 9. 18, and I've already talked about simplifying on the other side. So again, that's going to be 3 square root 2. Okay, so that's the exact length, or we get the approximation of 4.24 units. All right. If you want to pause the video, I've got 2 more that you can try on your own, or you can continue watching the video. If you want to try on your own, I would try one with the distance, one with the Pythagorean theorem, and just see which one you like the best. Okay, let's look at Pythagorean theorem here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units, so 6 squared. We're going to add that with our other leg, which is 2 squared, which is going to give us our hypotenuse. Okay, 6 squared is 36, 2 squared is 4, 36 plus 4 is 40, square root both sides. Okay, again, if we're going to simplify this, we can do 4 times 10. Square root of 4 is 2. Keep 10 underneath. Okay, that's our approximation. That's our exact, sorry. Okay, if we want an approximation, then we're going to get 6.32 units. Okay, let's do the distance formula. So I have to have my ordered pairs. So I go over -1 up 3. And then I go over 1 down -3. Oops. Okay, I stack those on top of each other. Okay, got my x's first. So -1 minus 1. Then we're going to add that with our y's. 3, it's a negative, so plus 3. Okay, let's combine this. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2 squared. Plus 3 is 9 squared. So remember, this is the whole reason we square these numbers, so that way we can get a positive number. Negative 2 times negative 2. Negative times a negative gives you a positive. So we're at 4 squared. 9 times 9 is 8. Oops, I didn't mean 9. 6, my fault. 6 squared is 36. Okay, keep your square root. 4 plus 36 is 40. Again, to simplify that, you would get 2 square root 10, or that is approximately 6.32 units, or 6.32 100ths. All right, so one last one, and I threw this one in there because it's just a horizontal line. You can do Pythagorean theorem and you can do distance formula, or this one gives you the exact units. Okay, don't get caught up that you have to Pythagorean theorem and you have to do distance formula to find the length. If it's a horizontal or vertical, you just count. You can say I'm either at negative 3 here and I'm at 4 here, and do absolute values because it's distance. Okay, so we're going to get 7 units. Okay, or you can just count. If it's in a coordinate like this where you can count your grids, just count how many units it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this one is 7 units. All right, if you have any questions, please send me an email.